Welcome back to another week in speculation. I'm Josh with GoCollect, and this week we're kicking things off with a look at key Blue Beetle sales, now that the movie has been out for a few weeks. Before we get started, I want to encourage you to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you don't miss out when we drop a new video. This episode contains content from our blog, so if you want to read the full stories, check out the link below. Let's get started. Good news! Blue Beetle earned $10 million on opening day, giving the film the #1 place in box office sales overall. The bad news is, over the weekend it made $25.4 million domestically, ranking the second lowest DC Extended Universe film by domestic opening weekend. The only DC Universe film with the worst opening was Wonder Woman 1984, which, to be fair, was released direct to streaming due to the pandemic. However, the fans who saw it really seemed to dig it. Rotten Tomatoes' critics' consensus describes Blue Beetle as a refreshingly family-focused superhero movie with plenty of humor and heart. Also, the film has a fan score of 92%. Blue Beetle is slowly winning over movie audiences, but is it helping those key issues climb the sales charts? Now that we have a couple weeks worth of data to analyze, which books are grabbing our attention? Let's see what the market has to say about our little blue buddy. After struggling in the sales department for most of August, Infinite Crisis number 5 finally rebounded, dropping into a comfortable 47th place just days before Blue Beetle hit theaters. Over the past few weeks, the graded 9.8 has really been a hot seller when it comes to graded copies. In fact, a copy sold for as much as $250. If the usual movie hype pattern continues, we should see Infinite Crisis number 5 cool off in the next week or so. But for now, Blue Beetle fans get to enjoy the ride. Whether the Blue Beetle character proves to be a long-term hit or a flop remains to be seen, but Jamie Reyes is here to stay, and there's plenty for fans to look forward to as DCU heads toward Gods and Monsters. Since we're sticking with DC Comics this week, we won't have time to mention Taylor Swift's rumored inclusion into Marvel's Deadpool 3 as Dazzler, but that's an Easter egg for another time. But moving back into Blue Beetle, as you've probably heard, James Gunn has mentioned that he plans to use the character for his upcoming DC Cinematic Universe. Being that Victoria Cord was featured in the new film, people were speculating that Ted Cord could be featured in future films. The current rumor is that Jason Sudeikis could be in the running to play the character. The rumors got us thinking, if Ted Cord, aka the second Blue Beetle, could make an appearance, then maybe the original Blue Beetle could be involved in some capacity. Ted Cord debuted in Charlton Comics in a backup feature story in Captain Atom number 83 in 1966. The character was created by the legendary Steve Ditko. Recently, a 6.5 grade sold for $330, while a 9.8 sold by a Comic Connect in 2021 for $7,705. Blue Beetle number 1 from 1964 has also logged a couple really impressive sales over the summer. And while it's not his first self-titled series, it is his first Silver Age comic. In July, a 9.8 set a record high for the title, selling for $26,500 on eBay. That same month, an 8.0 sold for $700, $200 higher than the highest sale for that grade. Later on, a 3.0 sold for $229, setting a record for that grade as well. Blue Beetle made its official DC Comics debut in 1983 along with other Charlton Comics characters like Peacemaker. They were brought into the fold for Crisis on Infinite Earth, and eventually Blue Beetle became a part of the Justice League, but not before a solo run beginning in 1986. But we're not going to keep talking about the origin of Blue Beetle all day. While the film hasn't made back its budget at the time of this filming, James Gunn and Peter Safran have claimed the movie will be a part of a future trilogy. The new DC film universe will begin in earnest with 2025 Superman Legacy, and James Gunn was quoted as saying, "The first DCU character for sure is Blue Beetle, while Superman Legacy is the first full DCU movie." Semantics for sure, and it's unlikely that Blue Beetle will be featured in the upcoming film. James Gunn also claimed a specific comic run would be the inspiration for the new super flick. He claims the new main inspiration will be Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely's 2005-2008 series All-Star Superman. It of course is not known how much of an influence it will be, but knowing James Gunn's previous work with Suicide Squad, it will attempt to capture the heart of the character but really bring its own flavor to the mix. Looking at Morrison's All-Star Superman #1, the 2005 comic last sold for $200 at the end of July at a 9.8 grade, while a 9.8 of issue 2 sold for only $21, so it could be really interesting to see where these land as we get closer to the 2025 release. For those unfamiliar with the story, it's about Superman getting his affairs in order before his death. The catalyst of the plot is that Superman flies too close to the sun, which supercharges his powers but also damages his cells. The story reveals that Lex Luthor is behind Superman's sickness, to the surprise of no one who's read any Superman comic. While it's unlikely that the plot of the comic will be the exact focus, it's more likely that the tone of Morrison's Superman will be the big reference. While the story in and of itself was dark, the characters display a brightness and positivity that is more akin to what fans have come to love and expect. This differs greatly from Zack Snyder's take, which was often criticized for being too dark and not showing Superman in the best light. The sense of wonder and innocence has long been what comic readers and fans of the Christopher Reeves movies were truly drawn to. And personally, as a fan of the new Peacemaker series and the most recent Suicide Squad film, I'm willing to give James Gunn the benefit of the doubt with the characters, and I think the DC Cinematic Universe is in as capable hands as any. But looking past the end of the current DC Universe with the release of Aquaman 2 and into the first true James Gunn 2025 DCU film, what do you think it means for DC comic keys? Before I let you go, just wanted to remind you that we launched our new magazine section on the site. Check out CGC graded issues by the likes of Sports Illustrated, Nintendo Power, Playboy, Star Wars Insider, and plenty of wrestling content, and so much more added on a daily basis. Go check it out now and let us know what you think. Thanks so much for tuning in for another week in Spec. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you never miss a video. See you next week.